will show you today how to create your first icCube dashboard in less than 10 minutes and less than 40 cents. You can go to pick our free trial edition of icCube on AWS Marketplace, follow the installation instructions, the launch instructions, and then go and see your machine spinning up. This is actually the longest phase. You need to wait for the initial setup, the provisioning of hardware and software resources, and the initial installation of icCube to run through, which takes a couple of minutes to be completed. Please note, though, that after your first initial setup, rebooting a machine or stopping and starting the instance is only a few seconds, so this is not that bad. Why I wanted to show you that you can do it in less than 10 minutes and less than 40 cents is because we always think that doing data analytics is a very expensive thing, but properly using the tools at your disposal allows you to save time and get to your first results actually quite fast. So it's a bit of a demystification video. So we are waiting for the status check column here to turn to check passed, which means the machine is ready for use. Still a few seconds. A few moments later. The machine is now ready. We have the checks that passed. So it's time to open icCube. In order to do so, go to the IP of the machine, replace by HTTP the connection, and open it on port 8282. Enter the default username password, which is admin. The first step is I need my data available to icCube, so that I make it simple here. It's a CSV data file that I'm using, which contains movie information. I create a folder in the file system that is accessible to me. I take my data, drag and drop it, wait for it to be uploaded, and I'm ready to go. The next step is to go configure the data integration. For that, I create a schema, which is your workspace where you will be working with your data. In the demo group, in the integration layer, the first thing is to choose that it's a CSV file, so I need to use the CSV connector. I will give it a name, choose the directory where I've stored my data, tell the system to set up the tables directly based on what is in there. I'm choosing my file, and I create my first data source. If we go have a look what's in it, we can see that we have data on movies, release years, and stuff with a lot of visibly holes in it, which will be important in a later stage. Next step is to organize this data along hierarchical levels. And I use the wizard that will do that automatically for me. So this analyzes the data and creates a structure that makes sense from what is seen in the data. It created all the various dimensions and organized them in a way that makes sense. Here, for instance, if I look at this one, I can see that the titles are organized by type of movies and the movie itself. Then let's measure something. I will make it very simple here. We'll just count the number of movies that fall in each category that we extracted from the data. For that, I create a measure group, which is a way of grouping measures together. I say that it's coming from the same data table. And I say that what I want to count is the number of movies that I measure as any of the attributes, but here I choose the show ID, and I count the number of rows. I attach this measure group to all the dimensions with a little one that does it automatically, and I create the dimensions. Now, the next thing I need to do is I said there's a lot of holes in the data, which means that information is not always filled. So I create a not available unknown member for each and every dimension, which will regroup all the data rows that don't have that specific column filled properly. This is to avoid errors, but obviously if your goal is data quality, maybe this is not the right strategy, but for this demo, this is good enough. Once this is done, I can deploy my model, which will load the data quite fast because it's not a lot of data. And then I go to the dashboard editor. In the dashboard editor, I can obviously create dashboards. So I create a new dashboard, give it a name, base it on the schema movies, and keep the standard layouts that are good enough for what I'm intending to do here. I choose a columnar chart, I drop it into my screen, resize it so it's interesting, and go edit what I want to actually display in it. So as measures, I will take the number of movies, and I want to see them, let's say, by director. So on the other axis of this report, I put the director, I apply it. Now, that was a little bit enthusiastic because we have so many directors that it will not work to display it properly. So I'm just choosing the years, which is a little bit of an easier, smaller dimension. Okay, this is cool, but nothing is ordered now. So let's go put a little transformation, which will actually order the data by release year in an ascending way. Up, and here we can see how the movie releases happened over time. Now, maybe I want to be able to filter to analyze further. So I add a filter panel. A filter panel is based on all of the dimensions that we defined before. I just say that this filter panel will issue a filtering selection, that this filtering selection needs to be applied to all the other widget, which is our column chart next to it. And then I can choose to sort by country, for instance, and see how the United States release went or any other country. Voila, here is your first dashboard. You can put it into production. And here we go. In less than 10 minutes, you had it.